So could you introduce yourselves for Cleantechnica?
I'm Jan-Jaap and Wim. I'm Dean of Energy at Hanze University of Applied Sciences.
I'm Wim from Gemert. I'm a leading professor in energy transition at Hanze University of Applied Sciences.
And can you speak a little bit about what this is, where we are, and what you guys are doing?
To put it in short, there will be a new society that is making its own energy around, and we are building here in a small scale that new society on the forehand. And it's very much to do with open innovation, and very much to do with translating energy transition and chances to be made, to be taken by the market.
And we try to enable people to meet each other here. So we invite people from industry and from society to work together on the transition problems we face.
And is it connected to the University of Groningen here at all? Or?
It's connected to the Hanze University of Applied Sciences, and together with the University of Groningen we are part of the Energy Academy Europe, in which we cooperate on both educational programs and research programs.
And just since this is in the picture, this wind turbine here is not part of your work, so maybe just a quick fun intro on what this is and what you know about it.
It's one of the, I think one of the oldest grid-connected wind turbines in the city of Groningen. It's actually, I believe it's part of a corporation, so actually it's very modern again, but it's not ours.
And there has never been a problem with this wind turbine because there was only one small wind turbine to be connected to the grid. But suppose that there will be not one turbine, but I understood in China there will be 250 gigawatt wind turbines. That will be 750,000 wind turbines connected to the grid, and here in this area it will be similar on a smaller scale. That means that there will be a complete chaos on the old grid if we don't add any smart communication around it. And what we are doing here is especially to develop all the smart communication that is necessary to keep the grid stable, to keep the grid working, to keep security supply, and introducing all this kind of intermittent technologies.
And I think that's key to what we do here at the Energy Transition Center, because we need the old world to create a new one. And we should connect those two worlds. So at EnTranCe, the Energy Transition Center, fossil meets renewable, industry meets society, and bottom up meets top down. So that's what we're trying to arrange here.
So we're here to talk about clean tech, but we're already in a little bit of a discussion about natural gas because of a conference last week in Paris, where you were giving a presentation. Yes.
Yes, I was giving a presentation on this Energy Transition Center and the role we think gas can have in the near future, because the gas industry can have a role also in a more sustainable world. But the thing is that this is a very conservative industry, and most of the guys involved don't see this opportunity. Some do, like the Dutch gas industry is willing to look into this opportunity, so they're partners in this EnTranCe we have here. But it's a very conservative industry.
Well, we saw we had a statement from 7 or 8 oil and gas companies asking for a carbon price, and even we had Shell, Total, so some other big ones. But even there, in that we didn't have the U.S. ones. so you have different tiers, I think. You have sort of the tier sort of dominated by U.S. oil and gas companies, and then this more, you might say, progressive.
The thing that struck me is that if you're discussing gas as a fuel, you can have very different views on this fuel. And for example, the Asian companies, they use very different arguments to promote their product, and actually they probably are right, because that's a very different world where nowadays cities are full of smog and are using coal. So for them it's an improvement to switch over to gas. Whereas in Europe, we're almost running out of gas. So we're thinking about a more renewable world. So we have very different types of discussions in different parts of the world.
And you were mentioning power to gas,
yes,
which is an interesting topic.
Yeah, so that's in our opinion one of the opportunities of this industry to innovate and to still have a valid business model in the future. If we have large wind farms, for example at sea, it might be a very good idea to use the existing infrastructure to store all this energy. So if you can turn it into gas using hydrolysis, you can actually make use of the existing gas infrastructure. This is not the most efficient way to do it, but it might be worth to investigate.
And particularly useful for seasonal storage, which is sort of the bigger
issue. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're saying, it's not really the gas companies that are, not the big gas companies that are pioneering this so much. It's it's coming more from outside of the industry. Right?
Yes, it is. It is. It's coming from outside.
And you were speaking a little bit about the situation here and where we are specifically, even.
Yeah, welcome here in the city of Groningen, the most beautiful city of the rest of the world.
And yes.
You were sitting. What I was mentioning is before is that you are sitting on top of a natural gas field. And that has been some 50 years ago. It has been a huge natural gas field. Even the biggest natural gas field that was known at that time in the world, and even the first serious natural gas field. And that was in time scale in Europe and even farther, more than just Europe, that we met the limits of our economic growth after the Second World War. And the limits were determined by all the contra effects of using black coal and all these brown coal for our economy. And that was a kind of real risk for health of society. And at that time we found the natural gas field, and at that time natural gas was being appreciated as the kind of a salvator, a solution to keep growing our economy. From this very spot here on, the natural gas business has been developed and spread out all over Europe, and the expertise that has been gathered here has been exported to the rest of the world. So this is in a sense a very special place where the energy transition from the old energy supply to natural gas was started. So we have a kind of a mindset of to trigger change. But more than that, natural gas is what has been said is very client-friendly fuel. It has always been. It can be brought very close to human beings. It can be brought to every house. That, in the contrary to black coal or brown coal or nuclear energy and so. And so we had the mindset here developed to develop systems, applications very close to human beings, like condensing boilers, combined heat and power, and so that has been started here. And now we still have a mindset, the kind of a culture to trigger change, and this is the new energy transition that we are all talking about. And the energy transition not just is an issue that we have heard in Paris of offering the profits of natural gas by the big natural gas companies, but it's also about facilitating activities, initiatives to be taken in the market to become more and more independent on things that you don't have to be dependent on. And to trigger or to develop this kind of co-production of what Jan-Jaap mentioned, of the top-down security supply and chances, opportunities to develop a new economy, a new sustainable economy by society itself, that is the big challenge that we are facing. And we have the mindset here to take an initiative. And please be welcome in EnTranCe.
Yeah, and now this building is here. Looks like you guys are still working outside around it a bit. So What are some of the projects or that you're working on that you want to highlight right now?
I think one of the projects I would like to highlight is we have just closed a big biogas project. And biogas can be a very technical subject, so of course we did all kinds of technical parts in the project. But we also looked at how society reacts on biogas. So we had some of our psychology students working on topics as well around this biogas project. And I think that's key to our project. We try to make these projects multidisciplinary, because it's not a technical thing that has to change. It's a society that has to adapt to changing circumstances. So
I love that comment and that point. It seems here in Europe in general, especially looking at some of the leading countries, Germany and Denmark with wind and solar, there's been much more involvement of the citizens in the renewable energy transition to wind, solar, and biogas, and they're much more aware, informed, and benefit directly often from it. Whereas I think in the US we have more of a challenge where we think it's all a technological issue, and I've never seen anywhere else any mention of a psychological study around biogas, which is really interesting and fascinating for someone who has a sociology background. But But
also if you look at energy reduction programs, energy saving, that's about behavior. It's not about technology. Technology can help, but behavior is a very important part of that discussion. So to us, that's very logical to do. And I think one of the other projects, and maybe...
And do you have any findings from the biogas one yet, or is it still in progress?
Yes, we have some findings about it. Its social acceptance of biogas is quite difficult because of the smell, for example. But if you are clear about these projects, it can really help. So communication about a project is key to the success of the project as well. And we have many technical outcomes of this project, but I think that far to go into detail.
It's a rather recent result of the project, of the research projects here on biogas. Is that we realized that people do accept biogas on the condition that they are offered to be a kind of co-owner of the development of the system from the beginning on. And that's kind of an open door kind of a conclusion, but we have concluded it out of our project recently. So,
I visited a small community in Germany, very well known globally. That's 100% renewable, and they've got biogas as well as wind, and it stinks a little bit if you get up close to it, close to the plant.
It's a natural smell, isn't it?
But I think they're very happy with what it does for them, and they're very happy with the benefits they get. It is a natural smell. Some people were more turned off by it than others, but they obviously hugely appreciated it because they were benefiting from it. Yeah. So you were going on about another one?
I think another example is an example where we work closely together with a small community, which is called Hooghalen. It's a small village, and they had this wish to make it a more sustainable community. And of course, everybody starts with putting solar panels on their roof, etc. But we try to help them to get more insight in their pattern of use and to collect data from their daily use and to see what kind of mixture of solutions will fit to their needs. And from this also, that's quite interesting, we saw that competition between people is also a very important issue when trying to save energy. So having insight in your own energy usage also triggers something which is probably in every human. You want to win from your neighbor. So this actually in itself is helping to save energy. So this is also a typical project where we work together with a community, but also with some of the companies. Because, for example, to generate the base load in this community, we work together with, in this case, Gasterra as a gas company. and we tried to install fuel cells being run on natural gas for a base load of heat and power, in combination with more renewable technologies like solar and wind. And in this case, the mixture can actually help to feed this small community.
Yeah.
And do you have any specific projects that really spring to mind for you that you guys that inspire you and that you get excited about here?
Not one, not two, but perhaps also in addition to what Jan-Jaap's example is, you see power to gas, for example, as an issue. More and more there is a kind of a tendency in society that not so much the choices to be made in society by people is not so much determined by the availability of technology, but the technology are facilitating more and more that people will be enabled to make choices. But what choices people will make, what choices the market will make, it's not our wisdom, we don't know. We just have to facilitate, and that is completely different from what we used to do in the past. And that Hogale project is an example, a perfect example, where we like to integrate technology development and society development, so to say, to come to kind of interactive optimization. But power to gas development is a perfect example of an idea to integrate commodities, to integrate services, to be able to offer an optimum service to society, to the market, to the people. That can be delivered that service on a high scale, on a kind of an infrastructure scale. It can be built in the infrastructure, and then it's part of the security of supply as we are used to. At the other end, it even can be developed as a kind of appliance for mass production to be used in a generic sense in houses at the other end, and something in between. Here this is a kind of perfect example where we like to develop the technology, to develop the systems that people, that society needs to make that choice. I don't know whether it will be an in-home appliance or it will be an infrastructural device, but I do know that people like to know what will be possible. This kind of projects needs to have a kind of a co-ownership by society itself, stakeholders from society, technology people, the knowledge people, and education people, the younger people, to be involved in that, to come in an interactive way, to come to kind of solutions for the market.